Apple TV Plus, where you can see the documentary series Monster Factory, available beginning March 17th. Danny, Gabby, Notorious Mimi, thank you all so much. The story of misfit dreamers at a pro wrestling school on the outskirts of a gritty New Jersey factory town. I love that setup that they sent. The PR group was awesome. So I'm very curious. What started with Larry Sharpe and I believe Nature Boy Buddy Rogers continues with Coach Danny Cage leading the Monster Factory. Danny, you lived it, but have you seen the docuseries yet? And if so, what did you think about it?
I did see it. I saw it again last week. So twice I've watched it and I love it. It's amazing and it's what I wanted to see in a wrestling TV show, a docu-series, because it's real. It's not, the usual stuff that you see trotted out. It's not the wait, camera can't come here type stuff. We pull the curtain back and we let everybody see everything.
Gabby, for you, what was it like? And again, have you seen this? And just what was it like to be a part of all this?
It was a long time coming, honestly. We had been talking about getting our stories out there for many, many years. I've been with Danny for a long time, and we always wanted this to happen. So to finally see it come to fruition for the world to come along with us on this journey is very exciting, and I'm thrilled about it. I'm thrilled about the product that we're putting out there for everyone. It's so different from anything else in professional wrestling.
Notorious Mimi, and by the way, I love the ring name.
Thank you.
I'm wondering, do you guys cover anything like that? The ring names and the ring gear, some of the other ancillary pieces that are so important. Are any of that covered in the docuseries?
I won't say specifically ring names. I think there's a little bit of that where Gabby talks about her ring name and that inspiration, but I would say in general, there's a lot of covering of the stuff that kind of circulates around pro wrestling, but isn't necessarily exactly what occurs in the ring, which I think is amazing because it's something that you don't get to see, on a typical weekly television show that broadcasts wrestling is the stuff that goes into being a wrestler. There's definitely some shots of like me washing my gear. We see people, working on their promos or going and filming stuff on their own. We see people getting ready to do extra work and, making sure they have the right business cash stuff. And I think it's amazing how much of the outside world that plays into wrestling you get to see in this docuseries.
Danny, so much of that is so interesting because you're actually pulling back the curtain, letting us see a little bit of what's going on behind the scenes, so to speak. Were there things that, hey, I wanted this shown, but were there things also that were off limits per se?
Nah, nothing was off limits. Nothing. Because that's what I think is holding back wrestling from going mainstream is people are embarrassed to watch it if you're in a bar. If you're at a bar and that's on, you'll be watching it, but you'll know someone else will say, oh, this fake stuff. And then someone else is going to go, yeah, that's fake, but they're really athletic and blah, blah, blah. And it's time to let that go. The reason they all have to say that is because nobody's pulling back the curtain and saying, yeah, you're right, but look how talented they are. Look how hard they work and appreciate the art form.
Also, Danny, what are you hoping then? Because that, I think, answers my next question. But what else, if there's anything else that you're hoping that people learn from this docuseries? And could we even be seeing more down the road?
I hope so. I hope there's a season 2, 3, 4. I'll keep doing it until they kick me out of the building. But that's it. I mean, I want them to realize that, hey, your dreams are possible. Mimi started with me when she was 14. Goldie started with me when he was 17. There's this journey that everybody went through, and your dream is achievable no matter what, no matter shape, size, gender, anything. It's achievable.
Gabby, how much have you seen it change over the years, or has it changed as far as opportunities for women in professional wrestling?
Yeah, so I started in 2015 when I was 20 years old. I'm 28 now. And I feel like I started at the precipice of this women's revolution. And I'm so glad that I was of age to become a professional wrestler during this time and seeing, Give Divas a Chance turning into the women's revolution and then turning into the indies being more accepting of competitive women's wrestling and not just exhibition stuff. I'm really grateful for the time that we're in now and how much more seriously women are being taken in this business and the opportunities that we have, because talking to women that came before me, it wasn't always like that. So I'm really grateful to see where it is and where it's going.
Notorious Mimi, you started at such a young age. What was that like for you? And just physically, were there plenty of women back then even that were involved in it? Or were you more or less, I know a lot of times y'all are working with the men too when you're training. So what was that part of it like, if so?
I mean, I was very lucky to always have Gabby because she did start before me by a few years. I started in 2018, so a few years after her. But physically, it might be a little too early. I always tell people I'm so glad I started at 14 because I love wrestling with my whole heart and I really don't know what I would have done otherwise. But I'm never going to be the one to be like, you're 14, you're ready to get in a ring and take those bumps, because I am sure I'm ready to pay for my decisions. It's fine, but I'm sure I'll be feeling like I feel it today, but I'm sure I'll feel it even more by the time I'm 30. But I always trained with everyone. I think that one of the great things about the family that the Monster Factory has is everyone was always so accepting of me, even when I was super young, because what we all have in common is just this passion for pro wrestling, whether it's someone who's, working double shifts to make sure that they can pay for the school, or whether it's someone who's literally, almost going to truancy court because they're driving over to New Jersey so many times and missing school. Like we all are willing to give so much to wrestling. And I think that's really what connects us.
Danny, with that, what are sacrifices that these men and women are making to try to live this dream? Because very few will make it very, very big time, but there's a lot of other wrestling out there, and there's a lot of other opportunities, it seems like today, where you don't have to necessarily be in the top two.
Yeah, I know what they're sacrificing, but I'll get to the main ones that usually interfere with them, and that is, as they're coming to the school and training and everything, their life is still going on. Their friends are still going out. Their family members are still going here and there. And it appears that they're crazy because they're missing all this stuff going on with their families. But if this was their dream to become a doctor and they were at med school, their family would love them. If they were missing school because they were, opening up their own pizza shop, their parents and all their friends would brag about it and they would talk how awesome it is. But because it's wrestling, it's that phony crap. So you don't need to go to it. You can go some other time. You can miss just this one time. And that's usually the stuff that they missed out on. But I always tell everybody, like, that stuff will be there. I'm not saying neglect your family and move away and screw everybody and whatever. But what I'm saying is the time that you commit to pro wrestling will pay off, because later on you can then help all those people that you wanted to spend all that time with. You can show them, you can be an inspiration, you can help people. My wife has been dealing with this for years, like, this is the year, this is the year, this is the year, and hopefully this is the year. But if it's not, it's not. Like I told everybody, I've been poor my whole life, and if I still remain poor, that's fine. Like, as long as my students are good and pro wrestling in general and our wrestling is going good around us, I'm happy. I'm satisfied.
Last question, and I'll give it to you, Danny. What has made the Monster Factory so famous and so successful? I'll list some of the graduates of it. So we don't have, if you want to mention them, you can't, some of them. But what do you think has made it so successful, long-lasting, and famous? Thank you.
Yep. Larry was a hustler. He was a hardworking SOB, and I saw him go through cancer, battle his way back, and continue to keep that wrestling school open. He never raised the prices. He always cut people breaks. He was a hard ass, but he had a heart of gold, and I continued that. And I think what we're doing now is more family than it was before. That's what I think right now. It's that, and it's consistency. It's every day we're in, no matter what. Even if we don't have things to do, even if the ring is broke, we're going to work on other things. Even if we don't have a show, we're still coming in to work on this. We're going to come in, we're going to communicate. The heater's broke, that's fine. We're still coming in. We got to do this. We have to do it. Repetition breeds habit, and it also makes bad habits. So let's repeat this good habit of showing up, training, helping each other out. And I think that's what makes the Monster Factory work, is that family environment. But we'll also beat your ass if you're out of line. So, like any family.
Apple TV Plus, Monster Factory, documentary series available beginning March 17th. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Gabby. Thank you, Notorious Mimi. And thank you, Notorious Mimi's cat.
Thank you.